is taught me exactly how the missiles worked. We having fun yet? Now, the other thing, I didn't know how the missiles communicated, the intra-missile communication. In other words, how the guidance chip tells the bloody engine what to do. And now when it's told it, where the heck's it going? I didn't realize how like stationary things and geostationary, all this other stuff. Well, thankfully, courtesy of one of the vendors who posted this online, bless their heart and socks, I now know exactly the analog, the architecture, and the digital instrument capabilities of the blasted missile. For those of you that aren't aware, the PAC-3 missile system is our Patriot, that nice thing that's meant to come up and intercept everything else. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So, I have the target guidance systems, I have the baseline architecture, I have the components, I have the communications, I have the methodology, and I had to relearn coding, which is this crazy programming language where it all happens. And then bless their concepts, they actually gave me the entire test environment to play with. I downloaded that as well. So now I have the entire telemetry architecture for the thing. Now why? Why do we do this? To prove a point, to have a bit of fun, and to try and demonstrate that all that data is out there. And yes, we were able to get our mitts on the guidance control chips, and yes, we could influence them. So when the damn thing was actually programmed to go where they wanted it to go, it went where we wanted it to go. Which is quite fun. Fire and forget and then wonder why it's heading in the wrong direction. I actually have a really good friend of mine, Jesse. So Jesse collects old tractors. You guys know the old John Deeres from like the 1900s, the Model A's, the Model B's, the really cool Ford tractors and all the old tractors. You guys remember some of those? At least tell me yes. So Jesse collects those, and Al, who's an extremely good friend of ours, has probably about 30 or 40 of these blasted things. Every now and again, Jesse manages to acquire another one of those. So Jesse's got fields of blasted tractors, so I keep on trying to blow up his tractors. What I first off decided I wanted to do was land an airplane on it, so we figured out the air traffic control system on the airplanes and figured out how to actually move onto where we wanted it. Then I just basically threatened to blow the blasted things up. It's easier that way. So what we're trying to do is help you guys understand data, not just data that you have inside your organization, not just data that's on the iPad or the computer or the system or whatever you might have it, but data that leaks, either knowingly or unknowingly. When you tell somebody in an electronic manner what you're revealing, when your organization goes out to the internet and goes, woohoo, we want a contract with Boeing to put this together, and here it is. What are you doing? When you go out there and you say, I need help, and here's my configuration file, what are you doing? We're trying to help organizations understand that they maybe shouldn't do that. And they shouldn't have so much of that stuff out there. So, kind of a bit of fun, kind of scary, but kind of a bit of fun. And it's really just trying to give you guys an awareness of data, how it works, what it works, how we deal with it, what we see with it, and trying to get you guys to think about it a little bit more as you go out there and as you interact, especially on the digital and electronic world. What do you guys do? How do you interact? And a little bit more forethought and foresight into interacting with this stuff. Any questions? Yes?
What do you think of LifeLock?
Okay, so here's a fun thing. LifeLock goes, we monitor, I don't know, whatever the hell they say now, sorry, whatever the heck they say now. 1 million websites or something like that. Last time we turned this thing on, we were monitoring about 12 million sites, of which 750, 800,000 are monitor credit cards. What they say they can do, they can't do properly. They actually got sued a couple of years ago. I remember getting a check for $12. Like, woohoo! Because we subscribed to it just for the fun of it, just to see what it was capable of doing. And then we put disinformation out there about us. I actually put one of my credit cards out there just to see how quickly they picked it. They never found the darn thing. It's a challenge, because I have a very good friend of mine, what do we call it, up in Portland, Boise, ASG Labs. She just lost her identity. The bank, which I don't know what the bank was, but whichever bank it was, insisted that her user ID on the bank login was a social security number. What a dumb, stupid, crazy, bloody thing to have. Sorry, if you use that, please don't. Daft idea. So she lost her identity, which means she lost the social, lost everything else. And I basically said, okay, all the free credit agencies agencies, go out to those, get them to put a report on, get them to put a risk analysis, give me your information, we'll put it on our system and watch it. I already found one of the credit cards being sold, and that was within 48 hours. She was like, what about LifeLock? Because she knows LifeLock as well. I'm like, don't bother. They can't proactively watch the data, and they're actually not watching the right places either. They're watching the surface web. They're not hitting the dark web. They have no access to the Tor architecture, or limited access to the Tor architecture, limited access to the onion network, etc., etc., etc. It's okay, but it's really nothing more than a feel-good factor. I don't mean that in a horrible way, to be honest. Yes?
What should we do about cookies?
Shoot them. Oh, you don't, actually.
Repeat the question, please.
Yes, sorry. The question was, what should we do about cookies? I have my system set so it accepts the cookies from the primary website I visited, but doesn't allow any third-party cookies to be stored. So I have my browser. I use Firefox, and I use Safari and Firefox loaded. And it can be set to only allow the cookies. So if I go to Yahoo, it allows the Yahoo cookie, and it tells all the adware cookie and all the other junk to get lost. So it doesn't store that data. I would also say clear the blasted things out on a semi-regular basis. If you have your computer set so that it remembers your login ID and password for places, that's great. Mine is. I have mine set so it remembers my ID and password. But my hard drive is encrypted. So if I lose the laptop, I don't care. But if you lose your machine, and I power it on, and I can log in as you, then I have access to wherever else you might have stored that data. So I clear the cookies out, clear the cache out on a pretty regular basis. Does that help? Thank you, sir. Good question. Any other questions? Yes? How real is a large-scale cyber attack? That's an interesting one. Which bit hasn't happened? If you take the recent-ish breach, the RSA breach, that would have been classified as a large-scale cyber attack. The guys got away with rather a lot of information from some very sensitive companies, a couple of the ones I put up there. But it was kept very low level because it was like, oh, RSA got breached. Well, who are they? Well, they look after two-factor authentication for quite the most of the defense industry. And by the way, a chunk of those guys have lost a bunch of data. That's public knowledge. What isn't public knowledge is the stack of hard drive of the data that they lost, how much of it and what it was. So is it happening? Heck yes. Is it likely to continue to happen? Heck yes. But if you go back to, there's the analogy from like years ago where the guys that used to attack the camel caravans, they wouldn't kill the guys, they just robbed from them. They let them go on because they want to get it back next year. And then the year after, they want to keep this thing going. It's like a tax. It's the same thing with a cyber attack. They're not going to take us down. Why? Because we've got valuable information. The guys that are doing it want to catch up. And they're catching up their own way by taking our data. They're not going to take us down because they still need to learn. But is it happening? Heck yes. Are we winning at the moment? No. Quite simply. Sorry, but it's a challenge. It's a heck of a challenge out there. It's not much fun to do it. Good question.
You've talked a lot about the online security and such, but could you talk some about the physical security and your attire and how that plays into things?
Yeah, I don't like getting shot anymore. So we do, as was pointed out, we actually do physical. We don't just go in there and do electronic security stuff. We do physical breaches as well. I get to hop over fences and go past barbed wire and basically do social engineering. My feet, everybody's like, you walk up, everybody's like, oh, you're making us, oh, you've got cool yellow feet. Oh, I'll make friends with you. Great, thanks. I just social engineered you. Or they start talking about the goatee, or they start talking about the hat. I've elicited a response from some of you that now allows me to be their friend. Or I walk up smoking a pipe. I don't actually smoke the darn thing, but I've got a couple of really nice pipes that I really, really like. So what happens is you walk up to the smoking door of the building, and they're like, oh, you smoke, you must be one of us. Come in, we are the great unclean. Come into the company, let me in, here's our data center, please walk in. You think that's fun, but we were out in, where was I? I was out in another state somewhere. And we were in a separate building looking for the darn data center. We found one of the IT guys. He was like, oh, you lost? I'm like, yes, we have a cable. We're trying to find the data center. He's like, oh, let me escort you. And took us through 2 other bloody buildings, a man trap, and led us into the data center. I think